Episode 6 of Ahsoka dropped yesterday, and much like the last week's episode, I decided to wait a day to actually talk about it. I thought it'd give people a chance to actually watch the episode and get themselves sort of acquainted with what all is going on, so that I could get into extensive detail without having to necessarily worry about spoiling it for somebody else. This episode was obviously a very hyped up one. The last one was huge. Everybody was very excited to see where things would go. And naturally, the story has to continue, and so episode 6 was getting a lot of buzz. In this episode, we are once again reunited with Balin Skoll and Shin Hati and Morgan Elsbeth as they have arrived at the planet where it seems that they can find Grand Admiral Thrawn. And obviously, you know that Thrawn is going to show up in this show because they've built this thing up extensively. But this is also a show where you're going to try and find other characters, such as Ezra Bridger. And while Ahsoka and Huyang are in a space whale right now, trying to get to that particular destination, at the same time, you currently have to do with the fact that the evil forces are already there. And once they get there, it's also the home of the Dathomiri, and so there's other Night Sisters who are there, much like Morgan Elsbeth, and they're like, oh hey, Thrawn's with us, by the way. He predicted you would come, and you did. And eventually, Thrawn does show up. He has his Star Destroyer working and good to go, and not only that, he has a whole Stormtrooper army as well. They're all inside with working TIE fighters, it seems, and eventually he comes right out. So let's just get to that part. Thrawn is awesome in this. Already Lars Mikkelsen, who also did the voice in the show, he's the animated show. The live action version of him over here is incredible, looks awesome. He is just as cunning and calculated as you expected Thrawn to be. This is a character who absolutely does not take any shit and will make sure every single possible situation is taken care of, because you always want to be one step ahead of the enemy, in this case being the rebels, the others who are not on the dark side of things. And so naturally when he shows up, it's very menacing. It's also done in a very well done way, and it's looks visually spectacular as well. And he recognizes Sabine Wren instantly, like, yeah, I know who this is. And so when he finds out that she's here to look for Ezra, he's like, I don't think he's out there, but hey, good luck finding him. And what she doesn't realize is that this is obviously a trap scenario, because if she does find Ezra, then Balin and Shin are gonna go after them and they're gonna try and kill them. Or if that doesn't work, then Thrawn's gonna come after them. So obviously this is not quite yet over. But the show has built up to this point where at least you have to have them come back. So Thrawn has come back. This is a huge moment. Everybody was incredibly excited. Now, Ezra, finding him takes a little time longer, but he does show up in this episode. Eventually, Sabine runs into the local population of this planet, which seems to be these turtle-like creatures, and they have things on, and they seem to have some symbols relating to the Jedi Order. And it's like, okay, you might know where he is. And eventually, you find out that Ezra has created an entire commune with these particular creatures, and there he is. In this one, he's played by Eman Esfandi. Now, you don't get too much with Ezra in this episode. You just get reintroduced to him. It's a really lovely moment. There's a nice little hug between him and Sabine. But he seems cool. I mean, we have yet to see what else he's going to pull off in this particular show. But it's great to see Ezra in live action. I was really very happy about, the fact that the Rebels crew was coming to life in such a way. I'm excited to see how things go when Ahsoka shows up. Hopefully when Hera shows up, it's going to be even more cool. But right now, it's very exciting because as a fan of Rebels as characters, it's funny because I never really thought certain things were going to happen in live action, and I was always worried about the execution of some things, especially when it came to Thrawn, because Thrawn is a character who's been built up since at least 3 years now. Because when Ahsoka name-dropped Thrawn in the season of The Mandalorian, where, they're taking on this entire village, and all of that stuff is happening, and she's like, where's Grand Admiral Thrawn? I thought, oh, wow, we're going to do this. When are we going to do this? And so 3 years later, sort of, bearing the fruits of that, they did a really, really great job with it. Kevin Kiner went absolutely insane with the score, as he's been going with this whole season. He's been doing a great job. And the direction over here and the writing all of it is pretty top notch. I also love the fact that someone actually said the words "a galaxy far, far away" in this one. Like, actually, Hugh Yang starts telling a story to Ahsoka, and he starts it off with "a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away." You are welcome to consider that every single time that shows up in a movie or a show now, it's being read by David Tennant, robot. So, fantastic. I'm curious what happened with people who were not originally acquainted with Rebels, because I was acquainted with it, so it was exciting to see these returns. But if you're somebody who didn't watch Rebels, it's like this, how is that hitting for you? I'm sure it's still working. Like, I mean, you're still probably invested in the show, but would it have hit? Probably hit way more for you if you'd actually seen the Rebels animated show as well. I feel like that would have happened. But it obviously ends on a note where battle is coming. Something's about to go down. Ahsoka's about to arrive, obviously. And so things are about to get a lot more serious. But I can honestly say that as far as the trajectory of the show goes, now that all the major players are good to go, and we've set up the conflicts, we've set up everything that's come along the way, the next couple of episodes are going to be very intense. They're going to be a lot more serious, and it's going to get a little nuts. So I'm excited to see what they're going to pull off in those next 2 episodes. And I mean, we'll see what else happens, because something tells me they're not just bringing Thrawn back for 2 episodes and calling it a day. I have a feeling they've got a bigger plan with him in mind. They certainly have to. I'm sure they've decided already that he's going to get a spin-off or something like that, and we're going to see certain things go down, because that would not surprise me. And so I am curious if they're going to decide to do the season 2 thing with this also, because that seems like the next logical step. And there's still a lot of ground to cover, because we're still in that time between 6 and 7 where stuff has happened, but there's still a long time before the stuff that we eventually get to happens. There's a long enough time gap. And so while we're not there yet, there's enough time to do other stories to sort of make everything else sort of make sense down the line, or validate certain things, which I feel like is going to happen eventually. And so I really enjoyed this episode. I've been loving the show mostly so far, and so I'm excited to see what the next 2 episodes are going to do. Let me know what you guys thought of the episodes in the comments down below. What did you think of this particular episode? Were you excited to see these characters again? Are you looking forward to seeing what the next 2 episodes do? Let me know accordingly, and then we'll have a conversation about those things. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Look forward to more videos very, very soon. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe, and may the Force be with you.